there is an interesting aspect to the more physical process of GenAI. At its core, GenAI models try to predict what comes next, after prompted by the user. One thing you need to keep in mind is this. The engineering team programs the model to account for a certain level of variability. To keep this simple, you'll often find Bard giving some boring, sterile answers, but often more accurate than ChatGPT. This is because Google's goal is to provide the very best result to the user. By contrast, you may find ChatGPT to provide more creative and interesting answers than Bard. Let me explain this with an example. A deep learning model may predict the answer to the question, what does a cat have to do with XXX, to be dog, based on, let's say, 90% probability calculated from the dataset that dog is most often related to the idea of cat. By contrast, a GenAI model will go further and actually generate some type of representation of whatever word XXX is. Now, in Google's case, because the model is programmed to answer with as little variability as possible, the result may generate a representation of the word dog. Boring but accurate. But what if you want the model to be more creative, come with surprising stuff, and generate more food for thought? Well, then you introduce a higher variability margin within your model, let's say 20%. ChatGPT is one example which seems to have a higher variability threshold. In this case, the algorithm may find that while dog does have the highest probability of being the next word with 90% probability, the association of a cat with the concept of milk also has a probability of 81%, which is within the 20% variability margin. ChatGPT may generate more interesting output based on the association with milk or dog and milk, and so on. Of course, this would also come with a higher potential for hallucinations or errors, or may not answer exactly to the obvious answer users may be looking for. In effect, what engineers do is tuning their model in generating output that is in line with their company's desired tone of voice, brand identity, and so on. Now, you may think this is a huge exercise. However, companies like Google, for example, have already commodified this tuning process by allowing their Vertex AI customers to build on top of their foundation models and tune outputs in line with their brand identity. Google calls this process grounding and tuning. Basically, you can upload your own company's data on top of Google's foundation models and tune it to your desired output, whether brand identity, creativity, and so on. As a visual example, just think like this. At the moment, Google's text-to-image models allow for generating images based on the huge dataset they trained on. These images may be good, but not in line with your brand identity. So, in order to ground the image generation output in your company style, you upload 10-15 images or more, and then tune it to your desired look and feel. That's it really. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next session, where we will discuss the different types of GenAI.